In this video, we're going to have a look at traversing arrays. So we've got two pre-made arrays. We've got the myNumbers array, which is an array of ints that's been declared using the hug brackets. And we've got an array of objects, a cities object called myCities, which is using objects within the array. First thing we can do is we can use a for loop. Now, traversing means to look at every single instance in the array. So every single number in the array or every single object in the array. So I'm going to use a for loop. So for int I equals 0 to I is less than numbers.length I plus plus. Now the I is very important because we use square brackets, and the first time we go through the loop I is 0. The next time we go through the loop I is 1, then I is 2. And we're using these little square brackets to access that element in the array, which is known as the index. And that's why you'll find most for loops use for I equals 0, because I normally stands for index. It's the same for the object array, but we have to use a dot notation with an object array. So we get myCitiesI, which returns an object of cities, but then we use a dot notation to access the methods within that one specific instance. So we get instance 1, and then we use the dot notation instance 2, and this helps us to find the information from each one. As you can see, when I test it, I have everything I need, all of the instances, so we have traversed the array. Now, sometimes you don't want to traverse the whole array. It's not called traversing if you don't, but we can skip elements. So say we want every second element, then we'd say I equals I plus 2. Or I equals I plus equals 2. So this will look at every second element in the array. However, the keener eye viewers of you might have noticed that for my numbers array, I put I equals 1 plus 2, which is always just show me the third element, and I got into an infinite loop. And it shows me every second city and every second number. One thing you need to be aware of is bound error. Indexes for arrays always start at 0. So if you start your for loop at 1, you are never going to see the first element, so therefore you are not traversing the array. So please make sure that you always start it at I equals 0 when looking at arrays. Then, the less than is very important, because if you say equals to, then because my array is 10, it will go till 10, but because it's numbered from 0, there's no 10th element in the array, so therefore it falls off the end, and it says that you cannot see it, and that's why we always use less than, or you can use less than or equals to length minus 1. Either of these gives you the correct version. Some people prefer to use while loops. I don't with arrays, but you have to be aware that you can use while loops with arrays. So you have to have a counter that's declared outside the loop, and then you say y counter is less than myCities.length or the name of your array.length. Again, you'd use a counter as the index. So the first time you go through it's 0, the second time you go through it's 1, the third time it's 2. And then you get a specific object, and then you use the dot notation to get the method to access the information within that object. So for example, cities counter gets for an object, and then get city name gets that specific object's name. Always remember to increment the counter, otherwise you are going to be in an infinite loop. And as you can see, it prints out all of the cities within the array. The final thing is we can use an enhanced loop. An enhanced loop does not allow you to access that instance. What it does is it makes a temporary copy that you can look at. So if you want to change something within your array, then you would never use an enhanced for loop. So if you were searching for something to change it, the enhanced for loop doesn't work because it makes a copy and it gets the information from the copy. It does not allow you to change it. But if you were just searching through the array and you want to look for something, then it's there. It also doesn't give you indexes.